Thank you for listening to this podcast from
theunheardnerd.com.
If you like what you hear, please consider liking, sharing, reviewing and subscribing on iTunes, Stitcher or your podcast feed of choice and help us to keep creating and improving our content.
Thank you.
This is Jump the Shark, a pop culture podcast from theunheardnerd.com. And since it's topical at the moment, John, and seems to be all the rage, I'm thinking about developing an augmented reality game where you go around with your mobile hunting out real-life pop culture sex toys. I don't know how you feel about that. I had to get it in somewhere because there's nothing in this show about sex toys. John, welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm a little bit fucked off, though, if I'm honest. A little bit.
Okay.
Because we recorded an entire sort of hour and a half podcast.
It was a biggie, that one, wasn't it?
It was pretty big. And I had the freaking flu when we did it. And all of the audio came out. And the whole show was unusable. So a little bit fucked off about that because it was quite a fun one.
That was a shame. People won't get to hear that.
So in future generations, someone will have some audio technology that will be able to just get rid of all those tiny little gaps, because I'm fucked if I'm going through and doing it. And maybe that show will appear. So this is episode like 3.5. Maybe.
I like your thinking.
Or maybe we should just call it episode 4 and people will be like, hey, what happened to episode 3? It's like, fuck you, it's good enough for Star Wars, it's good enough for us. They started on episode 4 for fuck's sake. And then maybe we can go back and do episode 3 another time.
Yeah, it'd be like a prequel.
Yeah, and then people will argue about like the best order to watch them in, or listen. It's pretty dull watching, to be fair. Yeah, so a little bit hacked off about that. We're gonna have to try and squeeze 2 shows in. So I'm gonna try and get this one out in March. Because I like the fact that we've been doing one a month for the whole 2 episodes, and so I want to try and get this one out in March, and then we should try and record another one for April.
Okay.
And who knows what's going to happen in May? Exciting news in May, actually, John. I'm going to New York.
Brilliant.
I'm going to New York. I've never been there before, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm only going for a week. But it'll be on my birthday time, which will
be awesome.
Be lovely, yeah. So we've got some friends living out there. We're just going to go out and sleep at theirs. So just paying for flights really, and then eating and seeing things.
Yeah.
So if anyone has recommendations of where I should go in New York, then send them over. Appreciate that. A little bit of feedback. We have had some feedback, John. A little bit.
Ooh.
Yeah. In fact,
tell.
In fact, bear with me. I'm just trying to find it. Shit, should have prepared earlier. Hang on, stay on target. This is actually feedback that actually would have been relevant in the last show, but we didn't have it in the last show. So luckily, the last show was fucked. Got it this time. So it's from Craig. Our friend Craig Green, Big Daddy Craig,
right.
who we gave a shout out to in a previous show. And he was like, I'm just listening to episode 2, a little bit late, but thanks, Craig. Love the shout out. On the subject of facial CGI, Blade Runner was on point. Also loving Dirk Gently. I'm also loving Altered Carbon on Netflix. Dystopian film noir-esque, whodunit kind of jazz. Not everyone's favourite gravy, but ... I haven't gone back to Altered Carbon, to be honest. I watched 3 episodes, I think.
Okay.
And I didn't go back to it, but it's kind of one I think I'm going to have to watch on my own, because I don't think my wife's really into it. But have you watched it at all?
I haven't started it yet, no. I do intend to at some point. I'm starting to grow backlogs of TV shows and films and just don't have the time to watch them at the moment.
Saving that one. So, I mean, like this sort of sci-fi... what was it? What's the word? I'm trying to think of...
Resurgence?
Cyberpunky sort of, sci-fi noir thing. It's quite popular at the moment. Obviously, we had Blade Runner 2049, the sequel to the old one. And the first Blade Runner, which is still
84 film,
yeah. Oh, and I did say in the last episode, but no one will ever hear it. I've actually
unfortunately not.
Got tickets to the secret cinema to go and see Blade Runner, which is going to be amazing. My wife bought them because she's a massive Blade Runner fan, and we're going to watch it. So that'll be really exciting. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, there's a bit of a resurgence in this sci-fi noir, and they all kind of look a little bit the same. So obviously, Altered Carbon looks a lot like Blade Runner. In terms of the aesthetics, dark city, wet, sort of Asian influence, and lots of neon everywhere, people with umbrellas, and sort of futuristic sex with see-through clothing and shit like that. On Netflix as well, I watched Mute.
So did I.
Did you watch that? This is amazing. It's just like last time. We've synchronised our periods and we're watching the same thing. So, what did we watch last time? We watched something that was the same.
I had a list written out and I've deleted it now because we're on the next podcast. So I deleted the old list.
Oh, let the mystery remain.
What I watched last time now.
We watched something. I'm sure it was on Netflix as well.
Was it? The Cloverfield film.
Oh yes, the Cloverfield paradox.
Yeah.
Cloverfield paradox, to give it its full title, not Cloverfield. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that was quite good. Quite enjoyed that. Some of it was a bit like, meh? A little bit, what the fuck? Why is there a hand crawling around, and how's it communicating?
I mean, to keep it short and not to repeat the podcast no one will ever hear, I thought it was a generally enjoyable piece of sci-fi, but I just didn't like the way they shoehorned in the old Cloverfield link. I thought that was completely unnecessary.
Well, I mean, either unnecessary or necessary and badly done, because it is a Cloverfield film after all. I mean,
Yeah.
Having not seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was on Film 4 just last week, and I forgot to record it.
Shame. It's excellent.
I'm sure I can find it, on of the many various streaming services we now subscribe to. We spend more on TV than we do on our kids, I think. Perhaps not. They're fucking expensive kids, aren't they?
Jesus, yes.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I wasn't really bothered by the monster link, to be honest. But yeah, that was a good fun film. Again, another one I watched while I had the flu, and was laying in bed dying. Actually, laying on the sofa dying, and eating Bourbon biscuits mostly. That was my diet.
That's a life, isn't it? That sounds all right.
It sounds all right, but I've actually put on a lot of weight because I haven't been able to exercise for 5 weeks, and I've just been eating biscuits. I love biscuits. Oh, I could eat biscuits for days. Give me a pack of biscuits and you'll never get it back because I'll eat them all. Yeah. I love them.
Bourbons, custard creams, Oreos.
Do you know? I mean, I love a chocolate digestive, but I don't like the posh ones. I don't like hobnobs. The texture's weird. It's like eating like raw Weetabix or something. And the cheap ones that are really bad for you, that you go in like Happy Shopper or something. Yeah, I love those. They're so sweet, and they got just the right texture. Oh, whole pack, easy, no problem. Anyway, sidetracking slightly. So yeah, I watched Mute. You watched Mute.
I did watch Mute.
It's not as Blade Runner-y as some of the things that are out at the moment are, but it does still have a dark, wet city with lots of neon.
It's Berlin, isn't it? I think it's supposed to be Berlin in the future.
It is. That's true. Yeah. Well, it's a film by Duncan Jones, who's the son of David Bowie, formerly known as Zowie Bowie. I can't imagine why he changed it.
No.
And there's a nice touch at the end. It's like he dedicated it to his dad, and also to his nanny.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought that was a nice touch. I paused it and Googled them just to make sure I was getting the right information there, which actually I think is classed as research for the podcast.
I think, yes, it is. Well done.
Which is unusual.
There's a nice link in there to the film Moon, which I won't point out because it spoils the ending of the film Moon, but yeah.
Oh, do you know what? I didn't pick up on that. I have seen Moon, but not for a long time.
Ah, right, okay.
So Duncan Jones wrote and directed, I think, Moon as well.
Yeah, and Source Code.
And Source Code, was that his as well?
That's his as well, yeah.
I didn't know that. See, I quite enjoyed Source Code, but it wasn't a worthy film, for want of a better way of describing it. I mean, Mute, for example, there's a strong kind of moral to it, and there's a real definition between good and bad, and you know which side people are on. and with Moon as well, there's a real sort of psychological edge to it, and it's who's it? It's Rockwell. What's his
Sam
name?
Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, who's fantastic in that as a singular character in the film, on his own for most if not all of the film, and puts
he's
in.
got Kevin Spacey's the voice of the AI, isn't he?
Oh, don't mention Kevin Spacey. No, no, bad Kevin Spacey, bad. So Kevin Spacey in a space film. Who would have thought? But yeah, Moon was a fantastic and worthy film, if you understand what I mean. Source Code is a really fun sci-fi film, and I watched it and I really enjoyed it. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal, that bloke in it.
Yeah.
Whose birthday it was a few podcasts ago, and that's a callback. You have to go back and listen to now. But it wasn't a worthy film. It wasn't like a real sort of moral thing or anything like any real substance to it. It was just like a real sort of action and fun film. So I did enjoy that. I didn't realise that was him, Duncan Jones. But Mute it is set in Berlin. It's about a guy who comes from an Amish family, and he had an accident as a child which cut his neck and damaged his vocal cords, and he never had the reconstructive surgery because he's Amish to have that repaired. So he's lived his life as a mute, that's where the title comes from, and but falls in love, and then the person he falls in love with disappears, and he has to find out where and how. And it features Paul Rudd, who it is Paul Rudd, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah, I knew it's Rudd. I've got the information. Again, I actually did a little bit of research. I opened up the IMDb page in advance. But not on the right. But yes, Paul Rudd, who people will know from Ant-Man. He is the Ant-Man and the Giant Man.
That's right.
Fun fact.
He was fantastic in it.
In Mute.
In Mute, yeah.
Yeah, very. I mean, hard to tell which side of the division he fell on, whether he was a good guy or a bad guy, because he played different parts at different times depending on the circumstances. And again, I don't want to go into too much detail because it might spoil it, but. Yeah, he's got kind of a weird barometer in terms of when he's good and when he's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it plays of all the characters in it, he's probably got the most charisma. And then the chap that's like the lead character is Alexander Skarsgård.
That's how I say it. Yeah, Skarsgård.
Skarsgård. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. But he plays the main character whose name is Leo, the guy who's mute. And he's really emotive as well. For someone who doesn't speak for the entire film, I'll say, because I don't want to spoil anything. I just have. He's really emotive, and he does a really I love the action scenes where he's forced into fighting, and he just looks so commanding. Like it really comes across as calm and collected, and those scenes are really stood out to me. Like he's really in command, really calm during those fight scenes. And I just found that really interesting, and I thought he played it really, really well. So yeah, lots to take from it. What did you enjoy it? What were your thoughts?
I did enjoy it. In fact, trying not to spoil it as hard as I can, there was a point where I thought the film was going to end, and I thought, fuck, if this ends now, this is going to be the most bleakest, depressing ending for a film. I thought it's a really bold choice to end it here as well. Yeah. But the film doesn't end at that point, and it's like, all right, okay.
Yeah, it was a bit. I was really uncomfortable at the end, and at certain points throughout.
Because people were left in situations they couldn't control, and it was like, oh my god, is this really going to happen? It's just like, oh my god, but it didn't go that way. But it's a brilliant film. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, I do have a minor nitpick about it, and it's really comes down to child acting again, and that really they shouldn't be allowed to. I mean, there's quite a significant moment in a child's life where most children would be absolutely distraught, but this child seems to just laugh it off and carry on.
She doesn't seem to react too much, does she? She's just like
a little bit of an oversight, I think. in terms of directing. Just a strange. I mean, I guess the kid was kind of used to being in situations where most kids aren't, and maybe then was a little bit desensitized. But
Which quite often she's left at the brothel, isn't she?
a brothel, yeah, what they call the parlor, yeah.
The parlor, yeah. It's like, okay, look after her for a bit. I need to go out, and they're like, yeah, all right then. You know, so she seems to be left in these funny situations quite a lot of the time.
Yeah, lots of interesting characters, and you all played pretty well, I think. And it's quite a long film, I felt.
Yeah, it's just over 2 hours, isn't it? 2 hours something.
Yeah, I mean, I made the mistake of well, I was playing some video games on the old Retro Pi on Sunday after I put the kids to bed, and yeah, they were in bed by sort of 8ish, half 8ish. It was probably about half 8 to be honest on the Sunday. And I thought I'll watch the film, but I'll just have a little go because the Retro Pi was fired up. The kids had been playing on it, and I realised I'd never completed Mario because I was always a Sega kid. But we'll come back to that. And so I played a bit of Mario, and then I played a bit of Sonic, and I was like, oh shit, I was going to watch that film. So I started watching it, and I was like, fuck, this is long. I'd knocked off a beer and 2 glasses of wine on a Sunday evening, school night, and it's like, fuck, it's gone midnight and this film's still not finished. I was up till 1 o'clock in the morning. I was at half cut. Yeah. But that was all right. It's good. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I recommend it. It's only got 5.4 out of 10, though, on IMDb. Which
it seems to have really divided people. Some people, from the initial my Twitter feed, it seemed a lot of people, it's a bit Marmite-y. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people hated it.
I guess. I mean, that's a shame because I think I don't know. It's not sort of your action-packed sci-fi that maybe people are expecting. I mean, there's action in it, but it's not like from start to finish. It's more of a moral tale, I suppose, or more of a sort of emotional ride than anything physical. But some really nice visuals in it, and yeah, I liked it. I thought the characterization was good. I thought it was well written. And it did have you guessing the wrong things at times, and then bang, it gets you back on track. So yeah, I recommend Mute.
My only regret is because it's a Netflix film, it means you can't actually buy a copy.
Oh, that's true. But I mean, sometimes they bring them out. Like the Marvel TV series, you can buy them on DVD. So maybe it will have a release later on. In a similar vein, on the Netflix topic, I haven't watched it yet because it's only just come on a day or so ago, but Annihilation is on Netflix in the UK
yes, I've
now.
heard about that, yeah.
Now, that received a cinematic release in the US, but not in the UK. It's gone straight to Netflix, which usually is an indictment of the quality of the film, but I don't think that's accurate in this case. I think it's supposed to be a very tense and quite shocking sci-fi film, a female cast led by Natalie Portman, and it's supposed to be quite tense and quite unique in its approach. So I'm really looking forward to watching that as well.
Yeah, that's on my to see list. Directed by Alex Garland, who did was it called Ex Machina?
Ex Machina, I think.
Is Machina, correct. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, which doesn't sit well with me because I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, that's the way. And that was a fantastic film as well. Oscar.
I've never actually seen it, to be honest.
Have you not?
No.
And Oscar Isaac, who went on to play Poe Dameron in some of those sci-fi funny films, Star something.
Ships shaped like letters or something.
Yeah, Y-wing command, something like that. And but it is a really good. Oh, and Alicia Vikander as well, who is obviously now Tomb Raider. No, she's not Tomb Raider. She's a Tomb Raider. Her name is Lara Croft. So it's a really good film. That's tense as well. A good sort of bleak sci-fi movie. Sort of sci-fi horror, actually. It was a bit darker than I expected it to be at times, and a bit more gruesome than I expected it to be as well. But also a very good film. So I'm looking forward to Annihilation, and good to see Natalie Portman getting sort of a quite gritty sci-fi role as well. I quite like her performances in films that usually we can't talk about on this because they're like ballet stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
she
right.
was in Black Swan. She had a really
Black
fantastic,
Swan, yeah.
really fantastic performance in Black Swan. But it's not the sort of film we would talk about, is it?
Not really.
No, but good film. Really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Let's throw that out there. What have you been watching, John? Have you watched anything else?
Yeah, I watched one of the most recent direct DVD Batman animations, Gotham by Gaslight.
Oh right, I thought you'd seen that already, or had you just wrote about the trailer maybe?
I remember, yeah, I read about the trailer, and I was really anxious about this one because Gotham by Gaslight is what was called is the first what they call the Elseworld story, which is taking a popular character and place them in a completely different situation, universe. I think universe is probably a better explanation.
Okay. All right.
So what they do is they take Batman and they stick him in Victorian times.
Oh, is it Jack the Ripper times, that kind of thing?
That exactly, that nail on the head.
Oh.
The story starts with Bruce Wayne visiting. It never actually says by name. He's visiting a famous detective in London.
Oh.
I wonder who that could be.
Licensing rights.
And yeah, and the Jack the Ripper murders are taking place, and the police don't know. I've got no idea who it is or how to stop it. Bruce then travels back to Gotham. He meets his uncle on the boat, who was also visiting London at the time. It sounds obvious that I'm saying it this way, doesn't it? He didn't feel this way when I first read it. And when he gets back to Gotham, the murders then start happening in Gotham.
Oh.
So as Batman, he tries to figure out who's killing all these girls.
Mm.
The animation follows that story. Well, the only part of that story it follows is the fact that girls are being murdered in Gotham. The rest of the book it chucks out the window. It keeps the location of Victorian London and the sort of Victorian Gotham and that sort of steampunk aesthetic.
Mm.
But
So it's based on a book.
this is an actual graphic novel you can go out and buy.
Oh right, okay, all right.
And the other redeeming feature I always remember, it was drawn by Mike Mignola, who's obviously most famous for drawing and creating Hellboy.
Hellboy, yeah.
So it's got his distinctive look to it.
Ah.
And the animation follows that story, but if they converted the book directly to it would probably last about 20 minutes on film. So they've had to fill it out. And of course they chuck some other famous Catwoman's in it.
Right.
I can't read it now. It was all right. I think I was just disappointed. They just seemed to chuck a lot of the book away and just to do their own thing with it.
Is the animation good though? Because a lot of these sort of bad superhero adaptations, the animation's a bit, Saturday morning cartoonish.
It was a bit, yeah. It's not amazing. You can tell they've, it's a shame. They seem to get these ideas and just go, let's spend the least amount of money sticking it on video. We know the fans will buy it.
That's a bit of a shame. I did see it in the BT store to rent, but I don't think I'll shell the money out on that one, to be honest.
It's all over the place. I think I saw it on the PlayStation store as well. It's like if you can stream it, you can watch it for a price.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, that's a shame. Well, not really worth watching then, is what you're saying, or is it worth watching?
I don't know. Perhaps it's one of those kind of things. Well, it would probably never happen, but it's one of those things where if it is on, you might sit down and watch it.
Okay.
So not make the effort to. It's like it's Sunday afternoon. What's on TV? Go on by Gaslight. Yeah, sit and watch this.
Fair enough. Cool. Keeping it with the it's not really a superhero actually. There's superheroes in it. I finally got around to watching Thor Ragnarok.
Brilliant.
Yeah, a bit of a travesty that I never got to the cinema to see this one, because the Thor films are one of the few sort of series of Marvel films that my wife enjoys as well.
Yeah,
she's really not into the superhero thing. She quite likes the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Thor ones. I mean, yeah, I guess because they're a little bit slapstick and a little bit more humorous than a lot of the other films. But fuck yeah, it is amazing. Like really, really enjoyable film. We laughed from start to finish.
Oh, it's so fucking funny. It's unbelievable. Amazing
characters. I mean, I'm hoping that pretty much everyone listening to this has already seen it. If they haven't, then it's definitely one to watch, whether you're a fan of Marvel films or not. It's just so funny, and you don't have to have seen the other Thor films or any of the other Marvel films really to know what's going on. It holds up as a standalone on its own, I think. Yeah. Chris Hemsworth is fantastic as Thor, titular character. Yeah, the antagonist is Kate Blanchett as his sister Hela, who returns. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo's brilliant as Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Mostly as the Hulk in this one, which was a nice change of pace. And I think the standout character, the one that I didn't expect to be amazing, was Korg, who's like a thing. It's like the Thing from Fantastic Four, actually. Whose voice?
Is it the big sort of blue, the big blue sort of rock creature? But
hello, mate. We're going to start a revolution. Really fantastic, and actually voiced by the director of the film, whose name I'm going to have a shit time pronouncing. But is it Taka Waititi?
I'll beat to it.
But yeah, really fantastic. Great film to watch. I won't spend too much time on that because people have probably seen it. But I finally caught up on that, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, John.
Yes.
I'm just going to give him my favourite response on Twitter that I've had.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
No, I don't think you do. I
Oh, okay. I just remembered one from someone, but yeah, go on.
Well, I mean, you mentioned that in a sec, but it was to my personal Twitter. That nerd will, and in response to the piece I wrote on the Kessel Run Millennium Falcon Lego set.
Okay.
And a fairly innocuous piece about speculation about does the front piece come off or what from the film. People want to know. This is my absolute favourite, completely not expected piece of feedback on Twitter. It simply says 40-year-old virgin ! Give the kids back their toys! ! So thank you, Michael Metro, spelled MYKLEMETRO. Michael Metro, who has a lofty 136 followers and is following 270. Follows me just to abuse me, it seems. So thanks for that.
Brilliant.
that's my absolute favourite. What was the one you were thinking of?
The dulcet tones of us discussing filming and gaming helped Jeffy Jeff beat a divine beast in
Jeffy Jeff. We got to shout out Jeffy Jeff every week. Yeah, well, I didn't know what the fuck you were on about, Jeff. I'll be honest.
I did know what he was on about, but I don't know how the fact we talking films and games and books helped him beat that particular level.
Well, firstly, I didn't know he was talking about a video game at all. I didn't know what the fuck. It was something about an elephant. No, you said about an elephant. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah,
there was an elephant there somewhere. I don't know what Jeffy Jeff was talking about. He was talking about beating something. And that we helped him do it, and I was like, "Fuck, what the? I don't know. I just don't know. I didn't understand at all." And finally, it became clear when you mentioned. Well, he said it was like the Switch game, the Zelda Breath of the Wild or whatever it's called. And then you said something about an elephant. I don't know. Are you playing the same game or are you playing a different game?
I'm playing that game as well.
So, you have a Switch?
No, I've got a Wii U. It's on Wii U first. It was promised to come out on the Wii U near the Wii U's launch.
Oh, right. Okay. Wow.
And so it's like about 4 years after they initially announced it, it finally came out on the Wii U. And they went, oh, but it's also on the Switch as well.
Ah. So is it essentially the same game?
It is the identical same game, yeah, but they released it on 2 platforms.
Because back in the day, like Master System and Mega Drive, they used to release like Sonic for the Mega Drive, but then there was a slightly shitter version for the Master System. That's what I was getting at, but not the case, obviously. No,
they both on the technical side, I think the Switch is obviously slightly better.
Oh, right, okay.
But
no, I was quite impressed.
They both have different. It's fantastic. Whichever one you play on is a fantastic game.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've been playing Zelda too, but we've actually been playing the N64 version. Was it Ocarina of Time or something or other?
Oh, right, yeah.
I say we've been playing. I mean, actually, yes, we've been playing cooperatively. Me and the kids have been trying to get through the first level, and we spent about 3 hours because, they just take their time at these things. Yeah, I'm just going to look around and see what's here. And we've been there like 5 times. Why are you going? No, I just want to look. It's like, but you just need to go fucking here and do this. And it's like, just chill.
Feeling your pain.
Let them get on with it, and eventually they'll beat the first level. That's fine. We've bought a shield so far.
Hey.
Just looking for that sword. So yeah, we've been on a retro gaming. We've gone way off films now. Way off films. We can come back to films. So yeah, we've been on a bit of a retro gaming thing over the weekend because, like I say, my wife was away, and you know, she's a little bit stricter about when we can have screen time. And
All right.
and I'd take them out for exercise. We've done nearly a 4 kilometre walk, me and the kids, up the hill to up One Tree Hill. Yeah, not the TV program. There's actually a place called One Tree Hill where I got married, actually. Yeah, and there's a rope swing in the woods, so we go up there and they play on the rope swing, and then yeah, it's a good walk and a good bit of exercise. Not that anyone needed to know that, but I'm just adding some colour to the picture. And then we came home and we zombied out and we watched. We played some retro games. I put Aladdin for the Mega Drive on the Retro Pi.
Ah, classic.
Yeah, it was a good game. And then what else I put on? I don't know. I put a load of old games on. Stuff that I thought they'd like. A Cool Spot and
Hey.
oh god, a few other things. I can't remember. Mega Drive. No, SNES games. I put some SNES games on. But anyway, yeah. So they had a little go on each of those, and then they went back to Legends of Zelda, which they really seemed to enjoy the most. And the whole reason we did that is that I mentioned in the last podcast that no one will ever hear that I'd been reading a book called Console Wars.
Oh yeah.
It's the first book in my book a month challenge for the year, because I try and do a book a month each year. I started it last year, and I'm trying to carry that on this year. And so that was my first one. It's quite big. It's like 64 chapters. I just put a review up on the website actually. 64 chapters, 555 pages. All about the so-called 16-bit wars between Nintendo and Sega. Very one-sided story, really very much through the eyes of Tom Kalinske, the president of Sega America. So it's a very one-sided Sega-centric look at the side of the story. Regardless, the book was on my dining table, and my eldest daughter asked, what's Console Wars? So we had this chat about it, and I was explaining to them there was these two companies. There was Sega and Nintendo, and they both had similar sort of spec machines, and they had some different video games, and people chose whether they liked Sega or Nintendo, and it caused arguments in the playground, and people generally were one way or the other. Now, obviously, my youngest is quite clued up when it comes to technology. She likes video games and things like that. And she'd played on the Retro Pi many times, and she recognised either the Sega Mega Drive or the Super Nintendo. And bless her, she sat there and she looked me in the eye and she said, "Well, they asked me, which side was I on?" And I said, "Well, it's Sega, because I've still got my Game Gear here, and I've got a little mini Mega Drive USB hub and stuff like that." I was always very much Sega, and I explained that Sega games were a little bit more serious and a little bit more maybe violent. And Nintendo games were really more sort of, fun in a way. And she sat there and she looked me in the eye and she said, "Daddy, I'm really sorry, but I think I prefer Nintendo." That's fine. Let's find some Nintendo games and stick them on the Retro Pi and you can play. So that's how that got there. So awesome. That's a long-winded story about my family. What were we talking about? Your 2-minute Terminator 2 review. It's like 2,000 words, John.
I couldn't stop writing. I'm sorry.
Crikey, I've not read it yet. I've got to set aside half a day. That's a lot of words. So how are you playing arcade games? Presumably that's a game that needed a light gun originally, no?
No, as I said, it's actually in the review.
I haven't read it.
Terminator. I know you haven't. That's why I'm saying it. Terminator 2 actually cheated because although they look like light guns, they obviously they rotated on a base and moved forwards and backwards, but not to move a sensor on the screen to detect the flashing, which is how light guns worked. They acted like a literal joystick.
Oh right, okay, wow.
So when you're rotating the gun left or right, it's moving a cursor left or right across the screen.
Okay.
It wasn't actual light gun. So, there's a brilliant piece of software that's been going for God knows how many years now called MAME, Multi-Arcade Machine Emulator. And it's just a one program that you can chuck arcade ROMs at. And depending on how powerful your PC is, I mean, if it's the really old stuff, I mean, I've only got a a Core 2 Duo laptop here, but that can play hundreds of old arcade games perfectly.
Oh, cool.
So Terminator 2 is one of them, and I thought, oh yeah, I'd give that a review because it's about one of my favorite films. Yeah, one of the things I love about Terminator 2 is the fact that they filmed actors. Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Eddie Furlong, Linda Hamilton didn't want to come back and do it. Robert Patrick is back as the T-1000. All enemies, good guys, props, locations. It's all real world stuff that was filmed, digitized, and stuck into this game. And I suppose one of the best highlights about there's two good things about Maine, but my favorite things. One is infinite money.
Right.
There's obviously it's just one button that represents sticking in money, so you just keep tapping away at that. And the other helpful thing is they're called save states. So you push a button and it saves how that arcade is at that moment in time.
Oh,
so
right.
effectively it's a save game. So you can just quickly push a button, save it. If you get killed, I'll just reload it and just jump back a few seconds.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's the irritating thing about some of the games on the Retro Pi. It's like you had 3 lives and you're fucked. It's like, these days you can save and carry on from wherever. Oh, that sounds interesting. Incidentally, there's it reminds me, there's a guy I know, real name Mad Hatter McGuinness. He changed his first name by deed poll. That's his real name, Mad Hatter. He used to run sort of a nerdcore record label called Scrub Club Records. And he stopped doing that and evolved his thing into Scrub Buds, which is like a video game streaming thing on Twitch or YouTube or whatever. But what he's done, he's amassed, and let's see if I can find the message because I'll probably not do it justice from memory. He messaged me and asked me if I'm interested in this. Everyone, I'm about to launch a new gaming project that will ultimately share my 23,000 plus video game MP3 collection, as well as my meticulous error-free ROM sets for systems 5th generation and before. So he's basically just been compiling this flawlessly logged and named and titled collection of MP3s and ROMs, which represents like a massive collection, which is really interesting. So I'm going to try and find out a little bit more from him about that and see what that's all about. Another interesting fact, and again on a side note, you mentioned Robert Patrick. Robert Patrick's brother is the lead singer of a band called Filter, who provided the best song from the Spawn soundtrack, Can't You Trip Like I Do, which was a collaboration with... I can't remember. But was it? I can't remember who it was with. But it's really good as well. So a little side note there. Interesting fact. That's free of charge.
Thanks. I might look that up afterwards. I think I might have used to listen to the Spawn soundtrack quite a bit when that film came out.
I still listen to that track a lot, and I still listen to the soundtrack quite a bit actually. I've got it on CD, and I have it on iTunes, but I don't think I've got iTunes open at the moment. No, I don't. I can't be bothered because that will probably make the sound go crappy. But yeah.
Speaking of which, is it Todd? Yeah, Todd McFarlane.
Yes.
Will start filming a new Spawn film in a couple of months.
So I hear. This is a film that's been sort of in the makings for a while, I think. They've been meaning to.
He's been talking about it for many years. He wants to do it. He wants to do it justice to make a proper version.
Yeah, because there was that. I mean, the film that came out. I mean, it was a bit. I quite enjoyed it at the time, but looking back, it certainly hasn't aged well. I'm
just thinking about it. It's a very 90s superhero film. It's a comment that's come to mind. It's I think if you don't know much about the source material, I don't think that doesn't help much. I know there's a lot of there's quite a lot of narration here that tries to explain who is what at the beginning.
Yeah, and some really shonky CGI. But
there's some really god, the CGI. Yeah, it's almost headache-inducing. It's so bad.
yeah, it's not a good watch these days. But I mean, the source material I think is fascinating, and probably now's a good time to do it as well because it's a black superhero, and that's clearly something that is very high in people's consciousness, the collective public conscious at the moment through films like Black Panther.
It's broken. It's broken the $1 billion box office record.
Yeah, which is fantastic, and I haven't seen it yet. Again, I need to try and find time to go and see that. And also, series like Luke Cage from Marvel and Black Lightning, which I started watching the first episode of the other day. She's like a DC character. But I also watched. There's the documentary. It's Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics on AMC. I think we discussed it in the last podcast, and obviously that's not going to get heard. So it's on AMC.
It really is the unheard nerd.
It really is, isn't it? Fuck yeah. I might just put it up and people will be like, what the fuck is this? But the Secret History of Comics is fascinating because it tells the story of behind the comics, the people that created the characters and the injustices that have been done to people like the creators of Superman, who lost the rights to the character and received very little remuneration for a character that's gone on to become one of the world's most recognizable superhero. And then there's the story of the creator of Wonder Woman and his sort of sordid sex life and how that inspired the character. But the one that I most recently watched was it was kind of all about black superheroes and black and people like black people making the comics, how they were underrepresented in the industry. And they took a stand. They created their own comics label, and they made their own comics, and they were all black characters or black led comic book series, and how they were inspired by the Black Panther and Black Lightning, and Black Lightning looks really good actually. It's amazing when you watch these DC series how well they do TV compared to how badly they do films. It's crazy. It's like really start giving the TV people a little bit of license to work on films because they're doing a much better job of it.
I get the feeling the TV stuff looks a little bit tongue-in-cheek, or is it not? Is it actually more serious than that?
No, it's not serious. It usually is quite light-hearted and fun. But it's just, I don't know, the storytelling and the way it's written is just far more easy to watch than these abominations of a film that they keep churning out, which look fantastic, albeit desaturated and grainy, but they look amazing in terms of, I was going to say effects, but then I remembered Henry Cavill's moustache, and but they look grand, they look like grand films, but the writing is abysmal, and the choices they're making, the directing, it's just not good. It's just not. They're not doing a good job. So I don't know. I mean, I really want this DC films to be good. I want them to succeed because
what's next? Aquaman's next, isn't it?
I think I don't really know. I'll be honest. I'm not sure. I'm trying not to pay attention to it in a way, which is sad.
Just be surprised when it turns up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love. I mean, even Wonder Woman, which received a lot of critical acclaim, I wasn't that impressed by it. Just because it was a bit formulaic and a bit, sort of didn't go as far as I wanted it to go in terms of story and a strong female lead. It's still a fun film. I probably need to watch it again, to be honest, because I think maybe I wasn't in the right frame of mind when I did watch it, but it didn't really do for me what I was hoping it would do. Which is also what I'm worried about this Captain Marvel film that Marvel are making with Brie Larson in the lead. I'm really nervous about that because she doesn't look like the character I want her to be. and
I just found out. I don't know. I know literally next to nothing about the character. Apparently, that film's set in the 90s.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
with a young agent. What's his name? Samuel Jackson. I've forgotten his name.
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury. That's it. With the young Nick Fury.
Yeah, I mean. I think in the comics she was. I mean, certainly, I guess if it's set in the 90s, it doesn't work. But she was romantically linked with War Machine, so maybe that will come back in later films. More up to date films if she features in Infinity War. then perhaps that'll be part of it. Though I'm not sure if he's dead or alive at this point. I can't remember. I thought he was dead, but then I think he's alive. I'm sure he's in the trailer. I don't know. Anyway, what else? So yeah, I'm a bit nervous about that, but I'm not worried about it being set in the 90s. That works for me. Not worried about that, but I just don't know if it's the film I want it to be, because I really, really enjoy the comics, and she's such a kick-ass character in the comics that I'm not sure about how well that's going to come across. But yeah, it may be surprised. I don't know. I hope it's one of the Marvel films that's more cinematic, like the Thor Ragnarok or the Guardians of the Galaxy, rather than the ones that look a bit TV movie, like I don't know, like the Ant-Man films to a degree, and I even like Doctor Strange just looked a bit. There were some amazing CGI moments in it, but it just didn't really work for me. I don't know. Yeah, call me picky. So okay, we went from film to video games, back to film. I've watched. I've been watching this series called Travelers, spelt incorrectly, and it's from 2016. It's a sort of sci-fi time travel thing. The guy from Will and Grace is the lead character.
I remember watching a trailer for that. Yeah.
It's quite enjoyable. It's really sort of. It's kind of like got a 90s American TV series feel about it. As in, there's not a lot of special effects, but it's all right. It's light entertainment. It's a bit A-Team. To be honest, there's a group of people sent from the future where things have gone tits up. They know what's going to cause it, and so they send a team back to alter history in order to prevent disaster, but their actions have repercussions and change things, and then there's another thing from the future trying to scupper what they're doing, and they have to try and figure out what it is and how to defeat it. And we're up to season 2. We're on season 2. The first episode in season 2 was amazing, and ever since then it's been a bit A-Team again. So I don't know. It's light entertainment. It's all right.
I decided to watch Disney's The Black Cauldron recently,
which seems like an odd choice, John.
I know. I don't really watch a lot of Disney stuff because it's Disney. As in terms of, when I say Disney, the first thing that comes to mind is like basically their classic animation stuff.
Right, like Beauty and the Beast and
Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, and Beauty and the Beast. No thanks. Oh. The reason I picked Black Cauldron, I think I come across it by accident. Actually, it's probably a Den of Geek article that put me onto it. It's from 80, can't remember, it's 80 something. There's no songs in it. It's not a musical. But it's a film that can't decide what it wants to be. It's a dark fantasy film. There's John Hurt does the voice of this I don't know, king with special powers. I mean, the Black Cauldron is a physical cauldron that holds massive power, so everyone's looking for it. No one knows where it is. And the story follows this young boy who's looking after this pig that's got magical powers. This just sounds ridiculous now saying it, but
I mean, honestly, John, this is sounding like classic Disney to me from here. But carry on.
I think the main point I want to say is the film flip-flops between styles, because there is half the film seems to be what you'd call proper Disney. It's a bit cute and lovely and la la la. But then the other half is really quite dark fantasy. Got like skeletons rising from the dead to attack people.
Okay. Yeah. So is this an animation?
Dragons and this is this is animation.
It's animation. Okay. And what era Disney is this?
I can't remember. Sometime in the 80s. It was the first Disney film to be rated PG-13.
Okay.
Which obviously worried them. But I think the story that Den of Geek brought up that got my interest. I think it was Michael Eisner, was just become head of Disney, and they showed off the latest version of it to him, a near finished version, and he went, "Oh, I don't like this. This is too dark and scary in places. I'm gonna have to cut some scenes out." And they were like, "You don't go around cutting out fully completed animated scenes. It's just literally a waste of money." And he goes, "No, I don't care." And apparently he took the film, went to an editing suite, and literally cut about 12 minutes of the film out. Some of the really more violent scenes, which have now been lost for all time. So no one knows what that stuff that was missing. The film does suffer for it, especially the end battle, which will be the most boring end battle ever, because there isn't an end battle basically.
Oh no.
Apparently, it's supposed to be a sword fight between the boy and this evil king, and the sword fight never happens.
Oh no.
It's such a letdown. It's like that whole sequence is missing, and the end sequence is a bit of an anticlimax. But there's some really nice animation. There's one scene where the pig is trying to run away from two dragons that are flying around catching it, and there's some really impressive animation in that scene. And yeah, but as I said before, at the end of the day, it just can't decide what it wants to be. Does it want to be sort of a nice Disney film or a dark fantasy film?
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's what hurt it in the end. It wasn't very well received critically. It didn't make a lot of money.
I'll be honest, I've never heard of it.
I think actually a computer game made out of it as well for the home consoles, like the Commodore Amiga and the Commodore 64 and Spectrum and stuff. And yeah,
right. I mean, Disney did have a weird time, sort of towards the late 70s and early 80s, where they made some weird choices. One that springs to mind is the Black Hole, sci-fi.
Oh, that is a strange film. Yeah, that's obviously Disney jumping on the Star Wars bandwagon,
but going really dark with it in places.
Okay, really, yes, it's not really it was definitely a kids. Well, no, it's not a kids film at all, is it?
Still, I watched it as a kid. Shit scared. There's a robot in it
Especially
called
that
Maximilian.
Oh, I loved him.
With the whirling arms, like the blades for hands.
He's
or
got
whatever.
blades. Yeah, blades.
Oh.
Yeah.
Scared the shit out of me. Yeah, there's talk of them remaking that or a version of it.
Yeah.
And which I kind of hope happens, because as much as it scared me, I kind of still have a soft spot for the Black Hole. I'm sure if I went back and watched it now, it'd be awful. But my memories of watching it as a kid, a tinge, like fondness tinged with terror. But it was a weird time for Disney. How do you feel about all these?
Christmas morning, I think.
Oh, was it?
I remember seeing it. It's on TV one Christmas morning. So I opened all my presents, put them to one side, because I'm like, sci-fi's on the telly. I'm watching this, and I remember losing interest at some point. I didn't even watch the whole thing. It's just like, shall I stick with this, or shall I play with my new toys? It's Christmas. So yeah, I didn't make it all the way through the first time.
That rings a bell for me as well. Christmas time watching it. So maybe it was the same time. Yeah, could well have been. How do you feel about all these live action remakes of animated Disney films?
I don't care, to be honest. But Disney seem to have found a new way of making money. So
yeah,
it's working for them. Although they're not. I don't know. They generally hit and miss. I think most of them have been pretty good, haven't they? They've been pretty well received.
I mean, I haven't seen them all. I haven't seen Jungle Book, which I would quite like to see. But the kids have no interest. We went and saw Beauty and the Beast, which I was a bit meh about, but the kids loved it. My wife loved it. But what else? I don't know if I've seen anything else. Did they do a Cinderella one? I think they did.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really follow that stream of films. Yeah,
but I mean, I having two girls, I go and see an awful lot of Disney films and that kind of animation and kids films that are aimed at girls, that kind of thing. I gotta be honest, those Disney films get me in the feels. They really do. I mean, I blame it on my contact lenses slipping, my eyes are watering a bit, but do you know what, they get me, because I watch them through the eyes of my kids, and it's bizarre. They never affected me before I had children, but as soon as I had children, oh my god, it's like I'm okay. But yeah, I quite.
Wait until you see Coco, then. Try not to cry at the end of Coco. Bloody hell.
I don't cry. It's just the contact lenses. Yeah, no. Again, that's another film I'd like to see. But my kids are so weird in their choices of what they want to watch. Like Paddington 2 is one of the greatest or best reviewed films ever on Rotten Tomatoes. Do they want to see it? Do they? They fucking loved the first one. Loved it.
They don't care for another one, though.
Oh, not at all. I cannot get them to watch it. It's like it's on demand. We can watch it anytime. No, not interested. Fine. Okay. I'd like to see it.
Another Disney film that I really like, again for the same reasons for Black Cauldron. There's no songs in it. It's not a musical. It's Atlantis. So you've seen that one, where it's set in the...
I haven't seen it.
Is that set the 30s or 40s?
Okay.
where this character voiced by Michael J. Fox believes in Atlantis. He believes it's a real place, and he meets someone else who believes it's real. He's got lots of money, and he puts a team together of obviously sort of what I would say crazy characters, but different characters because of this Disney film, and they go off in search of the lost city of Atlantis. And that's a really good film. I really enjoy that one. Again, like Gotham by Gaslight we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
the artwork for Atlantis was all designed by Mike Mignola again, so it's got his distinctive look to it.
Yeah. Cool. Tying into the Disney thing, director of Jungle Book, Jon Favreau, who basically reinvented the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Iron Man.
He did. Yeah, kicked it all off.
Yeah, I give him credit where credit's due. Has been charged with creating the first Star Wars live-action TV series.
Yes.
And I found the reaction to that really weird. Because
Okay.
people were like, "Oh, not Jon Favreau," or like, or "Yay, Jon Favreau." It was, "Oh, another white man." Great, fair point.
What?
Yeah. I mean, this was a whole piece on Variety, I think it was, or Hollywood Reporter, or one of those sites, and their reaction was, I hate these fucking articles where it's just basically people on Twitter are saying this, and then they just put
that's so lazy
pictures of people's comments on Twitter. Yeah, that's a very small portion of the actual feedback, but the angle they decided to go for was another white man in charge of a Star Wars product, and when are they going to give it to a woman or a person of color, which are valid points. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disputing that, but it seemed like such a weird reaction.
Surely it's whoever's suited for the job rather than.
Well, of course,
what they look like.
As a white man, we would say that, John. That's the point. But no, I mean, you tread on eggshells, of course, with however you react to it. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's no reason that a black person couldn't direct Star Wars or any other film. We're seeing increasingly that there's a huge market and huge potential for films like the Black Panther, which is just it's really attracted an audience that perhaps wasn't previously engaged with the Marvel films in quite the same way. And the same with all the TV series that we mentioned before. They're engaging an audience who have felt isolated and not represented, and that's absolutely wrong, of course. But Jon Favreau is he's a good guy. I think he comes across really well. He's hardworking. He's involved in so many more things than you even realise. He's an executive producer on the Orville. He's an executive producer of a lot of Disney films, a lot of the Marvel films. He's not always directing, but he's actively involved in so much, like pop culture TV. Even Dirk Gently he's involved with, and it was just like such a shit reaction rather than yay, well done, Jon Favreau. It was like, yeah, but it could have been someone else.
Yeah.
And again, don't get me wrong. There should be fair representation in Hollywood, in TV and film. But yeah, it was a weird reaction.
That reminds me of once again a similar article. I don't know if it's Variety or Hollywood Reporter. The secret film at this year's South by Southwest Film Festival was Ready Player One on Sunday night.
Yeah.
And so this article goes, here are the first Twitter reactions. And it was basically 5 or 6 tweets from people loving the film to bits. And then they said, but not everyone likes it. And there was a tweet from someone who actually hated it.
40-year-old virgin, like... exclamation mark. Give the kids back their toys. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, going back to Jon Favreau's style, is that a separate? Aren't the Game of Thrones people some of the guys behind that developing a Star Wars TV series?
Something like that. I heard something like that.
I'm getting confused now because now they say, "Oh, Jon Favreau's going to be writing something." It's like, hang on a minute, I'm confused. What's going on?
He's writing and producing. Maybe they're bringing people in to, I don't know, to Yeah, I mean, like a lot of shows, they have a team of writers, don't they? John Favreau's not going to write every episode,
No.
but he's going to executive produce, probably write and direct the first couple of episodes, and then he'll have other writers on board, which is probably where the Game of Thrones people come in.
I mean, there was an entire series written out beforehand several years ago. Have you heard that story?
Well, vaguely, yeah. Again, not in any detail.
No, basically, George Lucas hired a room. Got together a load of writers in a room and said, "I want to do a TV Star Wars series. Can you, here's some ideas I've got. Can you flesh it out and create it?" They wrote about, I think it's something in the region of 60, 70 scripts completed.
Wow.
And so they took some of those scripts and started shopping them around different networks. But being the sort of early 2000s, maybe something like that, shopping it around to all the networks. Networks are like going, "How much will this cost?" And they think, well, could be at least about a million an episode, because obviously all the special effects are required. And so everyone was just like, nope, not going to do it. So all those scripts were stuck back on the shelf, and the writing team disbanded. And everyone's like, "I wonder if Disney, when Disney brought out Star Wars, I wonder if they'll produce that." But obviously, nice. Maybe they're just plagiarizing it for ideas for other projects. I don't know.
Who knows? It leads me nicely, though, to a feature that we used to do on the old podcast that I'd like to bring back just for this episode. And it's who we didn't interview this month. Now,
go on.
For anyone that's not familiar, who we didn't interview was basically I get sent emails from PR people offering us to interview people, and it can be usually people we've never heard of.
There have been a couple of really good ones have gone by, haven't there?
On occasion, it's people you have heard of, people who have done stuff you've watched, and this episode is one of those, John.
Oh no!
Who we didn't interview this month?
Yes.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi director Ryan Johnson.
Oh my God.
No, I can't be bothered, mate. Busy. I don't know what I'd say to him. I'd be like, I really didn't like your film. I did, of all the Star Wars films, one of my least favourites. But I mean, I say we didn't interview because obviously we didn't. I did get the email saying he's available for interviews. Along with the effects director or director of the guy that did all the was in charge of the special effects for the film as well, whose name I can't remember. But I mean, sadly, my wife very kindly agreed to go and do this interview. She was like, "Yeah, fuck, I'll talk to him." She enjoyed the film. She's got experience of media, working in TV and stuff. She'd be perfect for it. Some twat forgot to email back in time, so that twat would be me. So we didn't interview Ryan Johnson. Well, wow, I don't know why our website doesn't succeed more.
I have no idea.
So there's that. We're getting close to the end of the show, John, but I did want to. We mentioned Alicia Vikander earlier from Ex Machina, and that she's going to be in Tomb Raider and as Lara Croft. I saw her on what's his name, Graham Norton's show the other week.
Oh right, yeah.
And she seems like a really nice, genuine person, actually. Like just really down to earth. How are you feeling about the Tomb Raider reboot?
Kind of in the middle, really. I'm not really fussed either way. I mean, I love the game it's based on, which sort of was like a reboot of the franchise. I love the game to bits, but watching these trailers, it looks like it should be going straight to DVD. I don't know why. That's the feeling I'm getting from it. It doesn't look big and cinematic. It's like,
wow, that's quite an indictment.
I may get round to watching it at some point and go, oh my God, I was so wrong. I mean, we shouldn't really base things off trailers, but everyone does.
I think it's one that I'll wait until it's on Netflix or Amazon before I watch it, to be honest. I'm not going to go to the cinema. I did go and see the first Tomb Raider film in the cinema, and I fell asleep. The franchise doesn't exactly excite me, to be honest. but I mean, like I say, Alicia Vikander is she's a good actress. I'm not sure she's quite right for the character, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm just not that particularly that interested in the franchise itself. Let's go through a few more. We'll do it very quickly, very brief. Like, are you looking forward to it or not? Solo, a Star Wars story.
Oh,
Yeah, I know this is going to be a tough one to go into quickly for you.
Quickly.
Trailer looks good.
Yeah, the trailers. Have you seen the one recut to Sabotage by the Beastie Boys?
I have, but they do that with everything these days, don't they? It's lost its charm a little bit.
Yeah, I like what I see in the trailers. But there's just a lot of rumours that I've been reading from when it was in production that make me think, but as always, watch the finished product. Don't base something off rumours and trailers.
Yeah, I want to see it, and I want to enjoy it. I want to believe. I want to enjoy it. Okay.
It's like that's when I had a comment from Mrs. who watched the trailer, and she goes, "Why do all Star Wars films have to have like a posh speaking English girl in them now?"
Yeah, I'm not offended by that at all.
Oh no, that's just a comment she made. Like, I don't know. It's just it's trend at the moment.
It's God, what's her name? Something Clark. Emilia Clarke.
Yeah, Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones, isn't she?
From Game of Thrones, yeah, and of course Sarah Connor from Terminator Genesis.
Oh God, that.
Yeah, let's not go there.
No.
Just dropped this evening while we're recording. It's the Fantastic Beasts sequel, The Crimes of the Crimes of Grindelwald.
Okay.
Did you watch the first Fantastic Beasts film?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, not a fan of the Harry Potter franchise?
I think I've seen the first 3 or 4.
Yeah, fuck them.
I think Goblet of Fire was the last one I got to. They're enjoyable to watch. I don't mind watching them, but I haven't made an effort to watch them.
Yeah, I mean, my kids like the Harry Potter films, and yeah, we went to see Fantastic Beasts. In fact, I got invited through one of these PR people that offers me the interviews to go to that Fantastic Beasts live event where J.K. Rowling revealed that she's making shitloads of money out of it, and but really spectacular event with all the actors and the directors and like live satellite links to around the world, all on an IMAX screen in Leicester Square in London. Really,
did you see the first 10 minutes or something?
Yeah, I got to see the first 10 minutes about 2 weeks before it went out in the cinema, and we had special space age bags that we had to put our mobile phones in to block signals.
Oh Christ!
So that security was it was one of those ones where you go and they've got night vision. We've been to a few of those, like some Marvel screenings as well, and they have night vision to stop you from filming. So they can see what you're doing. It was one of those. The security was tight on that. But that was good. I hope I get invited to something like that for this film. But it looks alright. I'm not a huge fan, but I like Eddie Redmayne. Is it Eddie Redmayne? Yes, it is Eddie Redmayne.
It is, yes.
In the lead. I find he's such a disarming character as Newt Scamander. He's kind of like bumbling, but really like fun with it. I think. Yeah, it should be alright. I'm sure the kids will enjoy it. What's the next Marvel film? Is it Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Is it Ant-Man or is it Infinity War?
I feel like Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming first, but I don't know for sure. Either way,
I thought Infinity War was end of April.
Oh, you might be right, actually.
Because I was just reading a lot of people sort of sitting around going, hang on a minute, don't we need another... We should have like the big Infinity War trailer soon that shows off a lot more of the film.
Yeah, it has been a little bit low key, hasn't it? Low key.
Because people going, that's brilliant. Yeah, because the article was like, people running around going, oh, they'll stick it in front of Black Panther. Oh no, they haven't. Oh, they'll stick it in front of was it called A Wrinkle of Time, another big Disney film. And it wasn't in front of that, and everyone's going, well, hang on a minute, the film opens I think at the end of April. Where's trailer number 2? It's like,
well, A Wrinkle in Time is out in the States, and it's got pretty tepid reviews, hasn't it? It's not been.
Has it?
Not been particularly well received, which is a shame because I was looking forward. I thought that would be one that would really engage my kids, and perhaps it will. So I was looking forward to going and seeing it, but I don't know. The reviews in America have not been that great so far. It's just
All I know of is I saw a headline in one of my news feeds, and it just said apparently the film doesn't touch upon any of the Christian elements that are in the original book, and in fact, it makes the film worse off because of it. It's like, oh, okay.
oh, okay. Not being a religious type, I'm not, But yeah, it's interesting. It's based on a book from it was an author. They made a film of it before, and she thought the film was shit, and voiced it. I wonder. Yeah, I was hoping that this would be a better adaptation of it, but we'll see. What else? The Shape of Water. I haven't seen that yet, but I'm planning to go.
No, I haven't seen it yet either.
Planning to go this Thursday. Because it's a film I've really wanted to see. It was in the cinemas months ago, like I think probably like early January maybe, ahead of the
Oscars.
the Golden Globes that came first.
Oh right.
Ahead of the awards season, it was ahead of that. It was in cinemas, like certain cinemas, and I really wanted to see it then. And one thing or another came out, I couldn't go, didn't get to see it, and then it came out officially on Valentine's Day here again, like weeks after it had been out in America. So it's really, I love it when it's the opposite way round and we get the films first. That's great, but when it's the other way round and it comes out in America first, it's really hard to avoid the reviews and all the hype that goes, or vitriol that comes with it. But this is a film I really want to see, and I've avoided all reviews of it. I know that it's a fantastic film because obviously it's won Oscars and everything, and it's getting high praise everywhere. But I really, really want to see it, and I wanted to see it from the first time I saw the trailer, and I knew nothing about it. So I'm looking forward to seeing that this Thursday, assuming the babysitter is confirmed, which I don't know yet. I'll update you later. I'll let you all know. I can't think of anything else that's coming out soon. So
Ready Player One.
Oh yeah. That's out this month actually, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
March the very soon, probably tomorrow or Friday, whenever Friday is. That's not tomorrow. It's Monday.
I've read a couple of reviews, and they were basically Marmite reviews. One review said, I loved it. I loved all the nerd references, all the references to pop culture that are in there. They were fantastic. And when the other person used that as a negative, they go, yeah, well, the pop culture references are in there. They're in there just for the sake of being pop culture references, and it actually makes the film worse off. It's like, oh right, okay.
I wonder if that person's read the book because it's all about the pop culture references.
Apparently, the film is very different to the book in a lot of ways. Right. Apparently, someone said it discards the first half of the book entirely, almost.
Okay.
Luckily, they won't have. I think we've mentioned this before. Do you remember that part of the book where he has to reenact war games and play out the Matthew Broderick character?
Yeah.
So that definitely wouldn't work in a film.
No. I've got this really horrible feeling I'm going to hate it.
Okay.
I don't know. I want to like it because I really enjoyed the book, but I've just got this horrible feeling I'm not gonna be into it, and that it's gonna be too much pop culture overload for me. I kind of feel like it's just gonna try too hard. But I hope not.
You can always look forward to the adaptation of Armada.
Yeah, well, hopefully that'll be better than the freaking book, which is awful. But never mind. Right, I think we should wrap the show up. Just if anyone's interested, the book I'm currently reading on my book a month challenge is called The Echo. I can't remember who the author is. Just Google that shit. I'll let you know what it's like when I've read it. I'm about 5 chapters in, and it's quite tense. It's quite tense. It's a sci-fi thing. It's another one of these things where a spaceship goes up into space, gets lost. 20 years later, they send another spaceship up, having learned their lessons from the previous mission. And there's a huge anomaly that they can't explain, and they've got to investigate. And then there's something appears on their radar, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?" And I don't know because I haven't read that far yet, so we'll find out.
Oh, okay.
But it's got twins. Like one twin is on the mission, leading the mission in space, and the other twin is back on Earth, and he's like leading the mission from Earth. And if anything goes wrong with the mission on the spaceship, he can take control from Earth. And I kind of feel like I think they're going to fall out, and there's going to be like a sort of battle going on between the twins. I don't know. I'm going to have to wait and see. Interesting. Anyway, okay, that's been Jump the Shark, the podcast, as I like to call it, because it's a podcast. Nice. Hopefully this one doesn't sound like we're doing it through a fan. Yeah, hopefully, and I'll get it out as soon as possible. So thanks everyone for listening. Do give us your feedback. Hit us up on the email, it's theunheardnerd@gmail.com. Hit us up on Facebook, it's facebook.com/theunheardnerd. Hit us up on Twitter. John is at UK Film Nerd. I am at that nerd will, or at the Unheard Nerd. And you can always go to theunheardnerd.com and read all the stuff we talk about as well. That would be great. Super. Love it if you could. Okay, John.
Awesome.
It's been a pleasure, as always.
Indeed. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Last name feelings, first name I've got so many ready for any 20-minute time slot. Throw your confetti, I'm rolling heavy on a broad walk, shining light on societal blind spots. Call the Vice Squad, call the Night's Watch on me. I'm a half black rapper, half white walker zombie. I know you never heard of Tribe One and Rocky, but you're gonna wanna have us on your iPod promptly. Went against the grain and they portrayed me as a rebel. I don't wanna change the game, I wanna play a different level. And this beat is so goddamn dope, no joke. I almost wish it could have stayed an instrumental. I've been following a dream since barely 18. Suckers dare to compare like they're the same thing, but if this was just another harebrained scheme, why am I flyer than an airplane wing? And we jump like we never had to walk on solid ground. And we rock like we don't know how to turn the volume down. And we dance like we never wore a tux or ballroom gown. You'll know when you see us, cause we work like we didn't have an ocean between us. Born in this form, I was forged in a furnace, and I only want your support when I've earned it. So save your money till you're sure I deserve it. Until then, download it, torrent, and burn it. I'm not concerned with Grammys or clout. I'd rather hiss the galaxy and read the Salmon of Doubt. No friends, only fam is the chant that we shout. Trying to make the world better and our families proud. It's just a matter of time before we get to the top. On the rise like Legos and Tetris blocks, stacking real hip-hop, electric pop, Celtic rock, and anything else you got. Throw it in the melting pot for a mixture of sacred ancient artifacts, blending indie rock guitars and gnarly party raps. Yeah, we're talented, but how do you market that? Just call it Malibu Shark Attack.